So the CR passed the House, and there seems to be a lot of questions, a lot of confusion as to who actually won. Who is this a victory for Trump and the Republicans? Is it a victory for Mike Johnson's side of the Republican Party? Is it a victory for Democrats? Sure seems like a victory for Democrats because every Democrat that voted for it voted in favor of it. There was not a single nay vote amongst the Democrats. As a matter of fact, more Democrats voted in favor of it than Republicans. It's like, wow, that's crazy. So they must have won, right? That seems to be a lot of the sentiment. But then there's the sentiment that, hey, the government didn't get shut down. We cut from a 1,500-page bill down to like a 110-page bill. It's a victory for Republicans. And now, it's like, oh, well, I don't know. Who won? The correct answer is that nobody won. The American people lost big time on this one because we have more spending, and more spending than we even had before, which was already way too high. The Pelosi-style spending, the Biden-style spending, that was already still in place. And we didn't cut from that at all. We added to it. But then, on top of that, we didn't get the separate bills, which would have been an extremely important, and perhaps even a defining moment for Mike Johnson. A way for him to say, "Hey, look, I can be Speaker of the House. We're going to do things the right way. We're going to vote instead of putting everything in this omnibus, cramnibus, whatever bus. We're going to vote on this individual bill, this individual bill, this individual. We're going to fund this, all separately, all individually. Forget about all this whole cram it all in stuff." This would have been a defining moment for him, but instead he buckled. And he buckled because I think that if he tried to do separate individual bills, then the Democrats would have not voted in favor of it, even though it would have been the same thing, right? Because they desperately, and it's not just the Democrats, it's the uniparty swamp as a whole, they desperately don't want bills to be split out individually because they know that their favorite bills would not make it. The only way they can get a lot of their stuff funded is by sneaking it in through omnibus bills. So that's why they were so against it, and that's why Mike Johnson had to cave and put it all together as one, even though he had already promised people such as Representative Thomas Massie that he was not going to put them together. He caved on that. He caved on the debt limit. President Trump wanted the debt limit essentially removed until 2027. He's now pushed that to 2029 when he wants the debt limit to come into play again. It's an arbitrary number. We can debate whether or not it is even effective. President Trump says it's not. I tend to side on the opposite end. I like the fact that there is a debt limit. I know that it's unnecessary. I know that it doesn't actually have a benefit. If we're just going to keep pushing it anyway, what's the point of having it, right? But I don't know. It's maybe a symbolic victory for us if we were to have the debt limit. Because here's the thing. Republicans claim that through Agenda 47 they're going to be able to reduce spending. So they can do that. And if they reduce it enough, then the debt limit won't matter, right? Except it will. Because we know that with interest, with entitlements, with all the various must-haves in there, it would be almost impossible to not hit the debt limit. Our national debt is going to rise. It is never going to drop. We would have to go into insane levels of austerity. DOGE would have to basically take over and cut everything for that to happen, and that's not going to happen. We have high expectations, but I don't think that they're going to be able to do enough to actually start reducing the national debt. So that's a discussion for another day. Back to the CR. So who won? Nobody won. But the important part for the Democrats, and the reason that Hakeem Jeffries had everybody who was willing, anybody who was going to vote nay, he told them to vote no vote or present. He wanted 0 nay votes. He wanted to outvote the Republicans so he could take credit for this, so he could say that this passed because it is a Democrat bill. But more importantly, Elon Musk didn't weigh in nearly as much as he did yesterday and the day before. President Trump didn't weigh in at all publicly. So he gets to go out there, and the press will back him on this. They'll say, look, this is a Democrat bill, basically. Mike Johnson totally caved. This is a Democrat bill. Democrats got everything they wanted. They didn't. They didn't get anything that they wanted, really. I mean, only symbolic victories. But it's all about narrative. It's all about optics, and we're seeing it. Okay, we're seeing it out there in the blogosphere. We're seeing it on social media. Republicans are like, oh, this is awful. This is awful. Look, unless you the two big things that make it awful for Republicans would be the not increasing the debt limit that President Trump wanted and not voting as individual bills as the liberty-minded folks in Congress wanted. Those are the only two things that were given up, really. Compared to yesterday, when it was like, oh, they got to sign it because President Trump wants it, Elon Musk wants it, everybody wants it. That's the one that we want. Not much changed, but enough changed to where, again, this is kabuki theater. Government's going to still continue to spend way too much money, but at least we get disaster relief for those who need it. We get farmers get relief. There are some positives in this, but it's still, it really is. It's just kabuki theater. That's it.